You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 327. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robin Jackson. And before we begin today's episode, I want to tell you about something really cool happening inside of the 100% Collective. Now, for those of you who don't know, the 100% Collective is our community for builders who are building a 100% school. And we have recently made some changes inside of the collective that if you are a member of the collective and you don't know about yet, we did an announcement inside the collective, but in case you didn't hear it, I want you to know about these changes. So the first thing is that we are shifting the rhythm of the collective. We're calling it the 100% rhythm. So every single month inside of the collective, we are going to show you how to make one shift in your work, taking something that you are already doing anyway, but show you how to do it like a builder. So we're going to show you one shift, then we'll give you a training on that shift, and then we're going to give you a playbook and all the tools you need on that shift. And then we are starting a new feature, which we're calling the member tune-up. We're going to select one member inside the collective every single month, and we are going to coach you through making that shift so that way at the end of the month, you've now shifted some part of your work to do it like a builder. So we're going to be covering things like doing walkthroughs and giving teachers better feedback and your communication rhythm. So if you're struggling to write newsletters every single week, we're going to show you a communication rhythm that's way more effective in keeping people focused on what matters most. We're going to be talking about hiring and onboarding and all the things that you are already doing right now. We're going to be helping you manage your leadership teams differently. All those things are happening in a collective. And by the way, the collective already has some really cool things. We've got the 5 in, 5 out playbook, which continues to be our most popular playbook and training to show you how to get your entire school aligned vertically and horizontally around the curriculum that matters. We have how to motivate anybody, that training and playbook. We have a playbook on PLCs that is growing in popularity as people are rolling out their PLCs this year and implementing it. And we have a training on showing you how to do PLCs in a way that actually works. We have trainings on how to hire your next master teacher and how to onboard a new administrator. There's so much in there. One of the reasons I love the collective is it's very different from Buildership University. Buildership University is about laying the foundation to transform your school, but the collective is about transforming your day to day. So it's taking work that you are already doing anyway, and in under 90 minutes a month, you are making a shift and making that work make more sense because you're doing it not like a leader, but you're doing it like a builder. So we've got exciting changes happening inside of the collective. If you are not already a member, then you need to go to buildershipuniversity.com/collective and sign up today. And I'll be announcing what the focus for September is going to be. It's a good one. I'll be announcing that on next week's podcast and inside the collective. All right, now on with the show. All right, today I want to talk about the beginning of the school year because right now, people have either already gone back or you're about to go back or you're in the process of coming back. And one of the questions that I get over and over and over again is, I did such a great job last year of creating unity in my staff. We've got everybody kind of focused on where we're heading with our vision, but now we have new staff members or we're merging schools, or I am taking over a new school and I'm the new person, or I have still a group of people who are kind of sabotaging everything else, saboteurs, and I've got these teachers who are ready to go. And how do I bring everything together? How do I merge a staff that feels fractured? Whether it feels fractured because you're combining schools, or it feels fractured because you're bringing in a whole bunch of new people, or it feels fractured because you're the new person. How do you bring together a group of people who may have competing priorities, a group of people who may be struggling to integrate into an already established system, or a group of people who may have been committed last year and then forgot everything that you did last year over the summer, and now they've come back and they've got amnesia and they don't remember a thing. How do you start the year and get everybody on the same page? So I want to talk about it because builders do things differently. So your leadership training has probably told you that you need to have a really good team building activity. So you take everybody to a ropes course and you help them get together and get together as teams and work together. But climbing a wall for 3 hours with ropes and helmets as a fun activity is very different from the day-to-day work. They may have bonded over the ropes course that time, and so it's great. It's fun. Do it if you want to. It's a fun activity. I'm not mad at it. But that's not enough to keep people on the same page working together when somebody doesn't turn in something that they should have turned in, when everybody's under stress, when people feel passionately about the direction that they should be taking their team or department, or somebody feels like somebody isn't pulling their full weight, or somebody else feels like somebody's being bossy and you're not the boss of me and you're not going to tell me what to do, or people have personality conflicts. They're not going to say, hey, wait a minute, now we climbed a rope wall together, or we did that great team building activity where we stood in different corners of the staff room and identified our true colors. So let's work this out. They're going to forget all of that during that time. And so those team building activities that you were trained to create and that you spend a lot of money building or a lot of time orchestrating, they're fun. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you that that is not what's going to create true alignment in your staff throughout the year, right? And so other people say, hey, well, I just need to get people to buy in. So you work really hard, you give them a beautiful inspirational speech, and they might applaud or just say, hey, that was really good, that really warmed my heart, I loved hearing about how you struggled as a child, how you were an ESL student and now that's why you're an educator. I loved sharing stories and bonding in small groups and hearing people's story about how they got their name, or hearing people tell their 2 truths and a lie and tell everybody about their summer vacation. Oh, I loved that. But that is going to evaporate the moment you have your first crisis. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you it's not enough. You see, leadership has taught you that those things which feel really good and create those temporary bonds in staff meeting are what it will take to create true alignment. But just because I like you or I got to know you a little bit better and you were humanized a little bit more now that I know your middle name is Bertha, does not mean that when times are hard, that's not enough for me to rely on to help me to continue to work productively with someone I vehemently disagree with. Or it's not going to help me work productively with someone I really don't like. You need something else. You need something stronger. Those things are nice. They create beautiful moments. Do them if you want to. But they are not enough for people to stand on when times get hard. And that's because most quick fixes like icebreakers or, having a rally or, passing out swag or having people sit down and sharing your vision again, the way that we're traditionally trained to share the vision, which is our vision is this, and even putting the vision all on the walls and writing it on every agenda and starting every agenda by reading the vision and mission and core values, especially the ones that we were taught to write that are aspirational statements that nobody can remember and all sound alike. Those generic visions, those generic missions, those generic core values of integrity and honor and trust and respect and all those things, they mean nothing when the crisis hits. They mean nothing when your teachers are tired and burned out and you got your test scores back and they don't look as well as they should, or they start experiencing personality conflicts in team meetings, or they have differences of opinion about the direction the team should be taking. Those things cannot be relied on. Now, let me tell you what you can rely on. And if you've been listening for a while, you already know what I'm going to say. Say it with me. Your vision, your mission, your core values when you do it like a builder. So if you have a whole bunch of people coming in and they're different and you're wanting to build some unity and some alignment from the very beginning, the things that you do now that will last you all school year, they're about your vision, your mission, your core values. Now, the folks in Buildership University, you know this. This is the time of the year where you need to be revisiting your vision. Remember, you can't just say your vision one time. You have to continue to talk about your vision. And builders have a very specific way we talk about our vision. We use the vision story. And that's a format that helps you to share the vision in a way that people immediately resonate with the vision. They hear that vision and they see themselves in the vision. They take immediate ownership of the vision. It's no longer just your vision or the school's vision. It's now their vision for what you're doing for your students. And again, the more clear your vision is, the more you give people a foundation, right? So this is what happens at the first disagreement or the personality conflict comes along and, we're just not getting along. What we can do is we can anchor in that vision together. We don't agree on everything, but we all agree that we're here for 100% of our students and helping 100% of our students do whatever your vision says it's going to do. When you are sitting in a meeting and there are differences of opinion, the arbitrator, the thing that kind of settles the disagreement is going back to that vision. Will this help us achieve our vision? If it doesn't, we're not discussing it. So automatically, if there is home base, there's common ground. No matter where people go, what ideas they have, you can help people quickly get united because you have a unifying force around your vision and your mission and your core values. So the beginning of the school year, it's time to tell that vision story again. It's time to now include the new people in that vision story. So starting out first meeting, or if your first meeting's already passed, bringing people together the next time. And before you talk about, hey, this is where the lockers are going to be, and this is our new bell schedule, and don't forget to do RTI, PBIS, PLCs, all the acronyms. Before you do all of that, you're going to start by anchoring everything and everyone in the vision. It gives everybody a starting point. And when conversations get beyond and go out of control, you can always come back home. You can always come back to the vision. And that's what helps anchor everybody and keep everybody in the same place. Home is always at the vision. The second thing is that the mission. Remember, the mission is our collective why. And so as you have new groups coming together, new people coming in, spending time revisiting the collective why. Why are we doing this work? Remember, it's vision because mission. So here's our vision. That's non-negotiable. And so we're going to talk about our vision, but then let's talk about why it's so important. Why it's important to the children we serve and why it's important to us as individuals, facilitating those conversations, having people talk about why that vision is so important to our students, to the work that we do. Again, it gives people anchor. It gives people a place to come back to. So I may disagree with the how, but as long as we can agree on our why, then we have a common ground of where we can come back to. We may have disagreements on the how, but we take it back to the why. Let me give you a very, very concrete example. Let's say that, you have team members and some team members think that we need to crack down on kids being out of uniform, and other team members, they say, are not as strict as enforcing the dress code in the school. So and teachers are not abiding by a dress code, right? So you've got teachers coming in slippers and bonnets, and you've got other teachers coming in dressing in what they believe is professional dress, and there's conflict around that. Or maybe there's not conflict amongst the teachers, maybe there's conflict between you and the teachers. But when you go back to the mission and the vision, what are we here for? All of those things begin to pale in comparison. Is this stopping us from achieving 100%? Is it stopping us from giving students a firm foundation so that they can have a bright future later on? That's your mission, or whatever your mission is. If you contextualize those disagreements in your vision and your mission, then you start to realize what's really important. And you also, if you have to make a decision or you have to push a particular idea, then if it's anchored in your vision and mission, people understand why you're doing it. And even if they don't agree with it, they're more likely to abide by it because they see how it's moving us towards the vision, which we all agree on, and the mission, which we all agree on, even if we don't agree on this thing. So having that anchor is a way to not only solve conflict and disagreement, it's a way to give everybody, like I said, a home base, a place to go home. And then those core values. Now, I don't know anything more powerful than core values to give people a baseline so that they can work together. Because the core values are about how we do this work. Remember, vision, because, mission, therefore core values. The core values are about what has to be non-negotiable among us in order for us to get this work done. And so having those core values, those non-negotiable core values is so critical. Now I need to say a word here about that because when people hear me talk about core values, they run off and they're like, yeah, we got to do core values. And so they push core values onto their staff. You don't own the core values. Your staff owns the core values. So your staff has to be the ones to come up with the core values and make them non-negotiable. Now, what do you do when you have new staff members come in? You may already have done the work and gone through the process. And we do have a process. It's really important that you follow the process. So if you have core values, but you haven't done it, look, I'm not trying to be a tyrant here, but I just have seen too many people do core values and they haven't done it the way that we talk about, where you have your entire staff commit to them one by one so that they are unanimously non-negotiable. Anytime you don't do it that way, there are problems. So I'm not trying to be a tyrant, but there is, what does Keith Sweat say? There's a right and a wrong way to establish core values. And I'm pretty clear about that now, just having been teaching this for over 10 years now with hundreds of schools. We may be thousands by now, but hundreds of schools have gone through the process, and the ones who are successful, they do it in the right way. And the ones who struggle with core values, they do it in the wrong way. But when you do it right, when you have non-negotiable core values that the staff owns because the staff has initiated, the staff has debated, the staff has decided on, then you have clarity. There are boundaries, right? People always talk about, I need to set up boundaries. I need to enforce boundaries. And you spend all your time policing people. But when your staff has crafted core values, they act as natural boundaries around behavior. And so you can always talk about staff behavior in the context of core values and have a productive conversation and not face resistance and pushback. So what do you do when you did core values last year the right way, and now you have new staff members? Well, when you bring new staff members on, you have to go through the core values with them and have them commit to those core values as well. It's not like a loyalty test, like they stand in your office with hand on the Bible. It's not like that. But you talk about why those core values exist, how they came about, and then you ask, can you hold these non-negotiable? Now, what if they say no? Then you bring it to the entire staff. Hey, we've got new staff members this year, and some of the core values that we've set are non-negotiable. These new staff members are not at the point yet where they believe it's non-negotiable. So we need to reopen the conversation. Yes, you reopen the conversation. You're like, but we worked so hard last year. Yes, you did. But now you have new voices and they have to come in and be a part of that conversation too. It may be that after the end of that conversation, they will say, you know what? I see your point. I see how this is non-negotiable. I commit to it too. In which case, that conversation has been very productive. And now they've truly committed to it, not because you held them in the office and said, you can't have the job unless you do it, but because they truly believe it too. And now you've created a space where they're now instantly integrated into your staff. I don't have to have known you for 20 years. Once I see you've committed to the core values, I know there's some really specific and basic things about you that I can depend on. And so now you've brought them in and they're now integrated into your staff. And what if, even after the conversation, they say no? They may have a point. A lot of times our core values are created in a myopic way, and it takes a new set of fresh eyes to demonstrate and show us why those things are not non-negotiable. And so if they have a legitimate point, you've won again, because now that conversation is productive. Now they've raised new things that we couldn't see before. They have already added value to our community, and we can revise our core values to things that are truly non-negotiable. They may expose something that we couldn't see, and now that we see it, we can address it and fix it, and our core values are strengthened as a result of their input. So again, that creates instant trust and credibility with the new staff members. It helps the new staff members understand the thinking of the older staff members. And so now you have more bonding. So I'm not afraid when someone says, nope, I don't see how that's non-negotiable. Let's reopen the conversation. Because we're staff who talks about and deals with the hard issues. And so take it back to the staff in a way that doesn't put the new staff member out there. Johnny's over here messing it up for everybody else. You're not doing that. You're simply saying, in some conversations, some things have come up about our core values that I think we need to address. And then you go through it again and get everybody to commit to it. So now you're strengthening the unity in your staff instead of creating division. Because here's what happens if you don't do that. If you don't do that, then you don't have non-negotiable core values. They're negotiable. You've just negotiated them. You've said, well, it's okay for our older staff, but the new people don't have to deal with it. You've just violated the core values. They're no longer core values anymore. So they're not going to do you any good anyway. You might as well go ahead and have the conversation and get it clean and get everybody to double down on their commitment to those core values, because that's what creates trust. So if you're in a large school, and I don't know Mr. Jones, who's just come in because he teaches seniors AP chemistry and I'm teaching freshman English, and we never interact. But when I see Mr. Jones in the hall, if I understand that Mr. Jones has committed to the vision, mission, and core values, I already know fundamental things about Mr. Jones. I know that we're working towards the same vision. I know we value the vision in the same way. And I know we hold the same things non-negotiable. So even if I don't know Mr. Jones, I know I can trust him at the most fundamental level of the work we're doing together as a school. And that's what creates staff unity. So if you are beginning the school year and you are worried that your staff is already fractured, either because you have a whole bunch of new teachers or because you're new and people are still kind of feeling you out and they don't know, whether or not they can trust you, or because you're bringing together, we have a lot of people in our world who are combining schools, and the process of combining schools was fracturing. It was not a good process. It didn't create unity. And now, people are trying to figure out, well, whose vision is going to win and which school's core. No, we're not doing that. We're going to come together and we're going to start this work. I know it feels luxurious to be able to do that at the beginning of the year with everything else going on. But I want you to hear it from me now, and hear me closely, please. If you don't do this work, nothing else you do is going to stick. I know that sounds dramatic, and I'm not trying to be dramatic here. I'm just telling you what I know. If you don't do this work, everything else you try to push through is going to have the same problems you've always been dealing with. If you don't invest the time to do this work up front, you will not have staff unity. Period. So, as we begin the school year, I want you to take a look at your staff. I want you to see, is the vision clear for them? Does everybody understand and embrace the vision? If not, you need to tell your vision story again and again and again until it does. Is everybody on mission? Is everybody doing not just the right work, but the right way? Are they focused on the why? Or are they just going through the motions and compliance? If you're seeing that, then that's a mission issue. And you need to go ahead and have the mission conversation again. So the why undergirds the work. And it's not just about compliance now. It's about the mission, the bigger mission that we have as a school. And if you're seeing a lack of trust, if you're seeing divisions and you're seeing cliques, or you're seeing people who, are feeling each other out or feeling you out, not quite sure where to be, or you see boundaries starting to be transgressed, then you need to do the core values work. But if you do those things, vision, mission, core values, you invest in them. You don't rush through them. You do them right. You spend the time, even though it's hard. and you have the hard conversations, even though they're uncomfortable, and you stick with the work even when you hit a snag, then you lay the foundation to create unity throughout your staff throughout the year. You lay the foundation for making hard decisions throughout the year. You lay the foundation for resolving conflict when people get tired and frustrated and cranky. You lay the foundation, most of all, for having dramatic changes in your culture and real results for your students because you made this investment up front like a builder. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today.